are fewer than 30 days out from the Iowa Republican caucuses. The rhetoric is ramping up and in some cases getting uglier during recent campaign stops in New Hampshire and Nevada.
What did you say? Nah, the trend. I don't support anyone. I know you, bro. No hate, but it's who you are. It is one of those guys. It's one of those guys who's like, I'm apolitical. I just hate you. Ugh, God, it's so annoying. I was so excited. I thought it is a fucking liberal. Ugh. That makes me so sad. I got so stoked. I thought it was like actually a fucking, finally, like a Trump supporter that was like, yeah, bro, fuck you. I love Trump. He's not a Nazi at all. Like I for a moment I got excited. Nah, I just know you, bud. No liberal or conservative. He knows me. Yeah, what do you know, Trojan horse daddy? He knows me, bro. He's your most parasocial chatter. Yeah, he knows me because I fucked his mom. I'm not political, bud. I just know you and I hate you.
Nevada, former President Donald Trump stoked fears about
Whoa, show me some backbone. You know I'm liberal. Please teach me more, senpai. All right, shut the fuck up, dumbass. Come on, be fucking better. Be better at bait, brother. Be better. This is fucking boring. Give me something good. Like, you only, brother, you spend all day in a fucking message board and this is the best you got? You literally spend all fucking day in a goddamn message board and you're like, all right, I'm going in, boys. And then you fucking come in here and you're like, I know you, bud. I'm a liberal, senpai, notice me. That's fucking pathetic, dude. What kind of what kind of lobotomy recipient ass fucking bait is that? Give me something better.
Undocumented immigrants coming across the U.S.-Mexico border. Par for the course since the day he rode down the escalator and declared himself a candidate for president back in 2015. But the themes and choices of his words this weekend are significant. The former president again repeating language that echoes white supremacists. Trump saying that illegal immigration is poisoning the blood of our country. And on Sunday, that migrants are invading from foreign prisons and mental institutions. Suffice to say, he offered no proof for any of that. Among others, former New Jersey governor and Trump GOP rival Chris Christie called Trump disgusting and his words dog whistling. The Biden campaign, meantime, responded to those poisoning comments, saying that Donald Trump parroted Adolf Hitler. Now, is that a fair comparison? Let's dig deeper. About 15 years before he systematically murdered millions of people, Hitler put that phrase in Mein Kampf, quote,
bro, I said this yesterday. It's like, I don't know if these people remember, like, Trump quite literally said, Mexicans are rapists. And then everyone was like, oh my God, finally, a breath of fresh air. If that's how you fucking knock it out of the park, there's not that many different avenues you can go to like level up the racism. Yeah, of course he's going to start being like, oh yeah, immigrants are poisonous, but he had to go poetic with it. Now, it's wild to see the CNN. It's wild to see CNN coin, fucking post Mein Kampf.
Great civilizations died out as a result of contamination of the blood, calling it a poison to the national bloodstream and infecting public life. Hitler was warning about German blood being, as he described it, poisoned by Jews. At his prior event in New Hampshire last month, Trump also used the word vermin to describe his political rivals. Comments that were condemned by President Biden as well as language you heard in Nazi Germany.
Yeah, he called who vermin, by the way? Leftists. Which I swear to God, Biden and fucking Trump agree on that, for the record. Anyway. Please talk about him being banned from the election in Colorado. God, liberals, fucking cool it in your panties, man. I know. I already fucking briefly mentioned it. I know! Breaking news from Colorado. I know, motherfucker. What do you want me to do? I tweeted about it. Go check my fucking tweet. Like, look at this guy. Calm down, man. I know.
Now, is that an accurate claim? Hitler's Nazi Party came to power partly by pounding the idea that the German government was being overrun by Marxists, something that Trump has suggested now is happening in the United States for years.
God damn it, dude. It's hard not to love Trump. He got CNN to defend Marxists, bro. Like, CNN immediately going back to their old ways of being like, oh yeah, we hate Donald Trump. I can't believe he's attacking Marxists. Have you guys seen this? Just like the Nazis did. Like, there is something to be said about the negative polarization against Donald Trump that ends up creating so many fucking liberal allies. It's crazy. Immediately, they're like, well, you know, famously, the Nazis hated the Marxists just like Donald Trump. It's like they hate Donald Trump so much they fucking love Marxists now. They love accurately telling the history. When the fuck do you ever hear from any liberal institution the famous poem of first they came for the communists? When have you ever heard that from liberal outlets? Never. They rarely ever talk about it. If anything, they literally will even make it seem like Nazis were also socialists, national socialists. You know what I mean?
When he wrote about rooting out Marxists and Jews,
I've argued before that if Trump were handling Gaza in the exact same way Biden does, the liberals would be standing up for Palestinian human rights. Oh, 100%. I said that as well. That would be the... People ask me, like, what do you think would be different about Trump versus Biden's handling of Gaza? It would be 100% identical, while simultaneously, instead of saying, oh, we got to stop the genocide, or not genocide, they would never say genocide. Joe Biden says, oh, you got to stop killing civilians, Jack, what the fuck? Trump would be like, it's fucking awesome that you're killing every monstrous barbarian Palestinian dog, right? However, the one thing that would be different, and I've said this since day fucking one, would be the reception of that message. When Biden says, oh yeah, we got to do restraint, Jack. Come on now. Oh, well, whoa, don't kill so many babies, Jack. When Biden says that, liberal media goes, yeah, that's so fair and so balanced, so wonderful. Thank you, sir, for being the voice in the room. He's doing everything he can to stop the carnage. If Trump said that, and he does say shit like that all the time, there's no better evidence of that than like literally the immigration border policies and stuff, right? When Trump says that, CNN has to be like, that's bad and that's wrong. So yes, there would be objectively more Democrats in the fucking streets, more liberals in general, that immediately reacted to Israel's genocidal actions in Gaza. It would not be better overall. I'm not saying that at all. Because ultimately, reacting to the government and like protest against the government doesn't actually change all that much. The orange man bad people were right. Yeah, of course they were. I've said this about liberals and how they changed their minds about Black Lives Matter. This is not made up. Back in 2014, 2015, 2016, when I was at the Young Turks, I would write articles about and I would cut videos about Black Lives Matter and how I supported it and how you should too. You know who didn't support it at the time? Under the Obungler administration? Liberals. Liberals did not support BLM until Trump negatively polarized them to defend Black Lives Matter. Liberals, including the Pod Johns, as a famous-ass example. The Pod Johns, Pod Save America, was not pro-BLM. They were anti-BLM. Even into the Trump administration, they were critical of BLM until Donald Trump shit on Colin Kaepernick and shit on Black Lives Matter. Then everybody turned and were like, BLM is great. Throw up the black fist. Obama himself said that the protesters in Ferguson were, I forget the word he used, but he used a racialized term. Either it was uppity or something along those lines. I remember him saying and using like a white supremacist. He said thugs. Yeah, it was thugs. It wasn't uppity, sorry. But it was, yeah. That's what he said about the Ferguson protesters. So, yeah, uppity was Ruth Bader Ginsburg on Kaepernick. Yep, sorry. I mixed and matched my liberal icons. Ruth Bader Ginsburg called Colin Kaepernick uppity. Yeah. So, my point is, liberals don't have any fucking coherent worldview in many instances, and they just basically look to what the Republicans are saying and then say, that's bad. I know that they're bad guys, so I should fucking be against it. That's usually how that works, especially when it's like a charismatic figure such as Donald Trump, which everybody loves to hate, and everybody loves to love on the other side. Uppity is a racist term, ? Yes, it is. I mean, it's almost exclusively used about black people. Like in and of itself, in a vacuum, it's not. But historically, and it's a term that is definitely racialized against black people. It means like a person that doesn't know their status, that doesn't know their place in society. It's about black people in the sense that, black people that don't know their place in society that is like lower than white people are speaking out of turn. That's what that's the implication behind it. Why did you say it then? Because I'm racist, dog. That's why I said it, because I'm a fucking white supremacist racist. I only support Black Lives Matter since like 2014, 2015, or when it first started, specifically because I'm so racist. I want to play on New Game Plus difficulty. Like, people don't understand this. Like, I'm not a regular kind of racist. I'm the kind of racist that wants to like live in a world that is anti-racist so that it's even harder for me to be racist out and about. That's why I've been doing anti-racist agitprop for the past 10 fucking years, so that people, correct me all the time and make it so much harder. Anyway. Yeah. The weighted training gear method. Exactly.
Hitler wrote, quote, "There was time enough at home at least to exterminate this vermin." The Trump campaign did respond to criticism over his speech this weekend, saying that Trump's speech was great. They previously shot down that vermin comparison this way: "Those who try to make that ridiculous assertion are clearly snowflakes grasping for anything because they are suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. And they added this.
Nice.
Their sad, miserable existence will be crushed when President Trump returns to the White House. An interesting choice of words there, Brianna.
Certainly. And here's the thing. Trump's interest in Hitler and Nazi Germany,
bro, this shit is so 2015 coded. I love it.
it's not a recent development. Several journalists have documented it. Michael Bender of the Wall Street Journal wrote in his 2021 book about how in 2018, Trump told his then chief of staff, retired four-star General John Kelly, as Kelly was explaining to Trump who the allies and enemies were in both world wars, quote, "Well, Hitler did a lot of good things," praising the Fuhrer for his economic policies. Now, Kelly pushed back as Trump reportedly persisted speaking positively about Hitler. Trump later denied making those comments. But in 2022, Susan Glass.
Damn, bro, Trump is I mean, a lot of what Hitler did on the economic policy front is unironically things that the capital owning class want. Like, he's not off base, okay? Like, what do you mean? Who do you think he aligned with? Oh, National Socialism? Get the fuck out of here. It was nothing to do with socialism. They butchered all the fucking socialists immediately. The entire point of fascism was to, put some safeguards and create a new order so that capitalism could continue. Motherfucker went on a privatization streak. An abolition of trade unions, you know what I mean? It's like literally, it's just straight up down to the fucking wire, everything that the American capital owners want. Also, did she just say the Fuhrer? What is that?
Back as Trump reportedly persisted speaking positively about Hitler. Trump later denied making those comments. But in 2020.
Oh, no, she didn't. She did Hitler.
Susan Glasser and Peter Baker wrote in their book, The Divider, about how Trump, frustrated by his military leadership, exclaimed to Kelly as well, "You effing generals, why can't you be..."
We have two conflicting opinions. Lol, the term privatization was coined when describing Nazi Germany's economy. That's one chatter. Where's the other chatter? Nazi Germany did privatization? What the fuck are you saying? Duke it out. Why are you reading all this? Because I like it. Fight it out, chatter, while I eat. I think she said the Fuhrer when she was quoting. Well, I don't know. Maybe they hate. Maybe she's secretly a fan of Hitler. That'd be so sick. Maybe I should use guest star to make chatters fucking fight one another.
Be more like the German generals. Which generals, Kelly asked. The German generals in World War II, Trump responded.
I want to understand, was the economics of Nazis good or bad? That would explain their military superiority. I don't know. What? Their military superiority? The only thing that they were superior in was catching the fucking French off guard. That's it. The fuck do you mean? They got shellacked, brother. What are we talking about? They notoriously were not popping off. What the fuck? And also, their economy wasn't great at all. What the fuck are you talking about? Reprivatization coined the Nazi regime's efforts to denationalize sectors of the German economy. Nazis were capitalists. Like, Nazis' number one enemy were, first and foremost, communists, which they thought was a Jewish ideology. Like, yeah, they hated Jews. And also simultaneously were like, yeah, you know, cultural Bolshevism, the Jewish ideology of communism and socialism is like destroying the country. I think that there is definitely a very real Red Scare propaganda that has stopped Americans from knowing the truth about like the Nazis' hatred against the Jewish ideology, in their words, of communism. And I think that they do that because, like, we also, during the Cold War, hated communism, right? So that's the reason why, like, they didn't want people to know about, like, what Nazis hated and why they hated what they hated, right? However, that then creates this weird phenomena where a lot of Americans can't comprehend why current modern American Republicans who are reactionary are almost identical to the Nazis, if not directly fucking Nazis. That literally stems from Red Scare era, horrifyingly bad American historical education on World War II. We were so horny to prop this idea up, an entire nation terrified of like the communist scourge, the communist mind virus, that we ended up ceding ground to the fucking Nazis. And now they run the fucking show. They won. Their ideology lives on in the hearts and minds of the American consciousness. They literally say identical shit to the Nazis, while everyone is fucking predisposed with socialists. Socialists in the fucking shadows. Scary socialists everywhere. Think about that, man. Think about that. There is no more damning of an indication that the fucking Nazis won than having the modern day Republican Party motto resemble, and their main villains resemble identically the villains that the Nazis had, for the exact same fucking reasons too. Think about that. It's patent chatter. I think the general you're talking about in World War II that said, we fought the wrong enemy in World War II, which, you know, he said a lot of racist shit, not just that. Are you calling the Republicans Nazis or communists? What are you, crazy? Why would I say the Republicans are socialists, dog? Nazis won as the new America deserved 9/11. It's not. It's just the fucking truth. It's crazy to me to say this when, like, yeah, Germany lost, Nazi Germany lost, but Nazism as an ideology thrived and still does. Sure, people don't fucking dress up with the swastikas and shit, but American fascism is not unique nor dissimilar to Nazi fascism at all. It's just packaged with the fucking flag, the American flag, and sold to you under the auspices of being able to eat as many jalapeno poppers as possible so you don't even fucking see it. Think about it this way. Think about it this way. Nazis hated trans people, queer people, disabled people. So do the Republicans. Nazis hated Jews, said that Jewish people are responsible for the dangerous ideology of communism and also responsible for what? The Great Replacement, replacing the pure white German folk with immigrants and moral degeneracy. Who else does that sound like? Oh, that's right. Motherfucking modern day Republicans. They just simply don't say Jews. Some of them do. Not all of them say Jews. But that's the only difference. They say one Jew. They only say George Soros. So I guess they're not anti-Semitic. They don't say all Jews are responsible for this. They say one Jew. George Soros is responsible for it, so it's not as anti-Semitic. They don't say cultural Bolshevism. They don't say cultural Judaism. They don't say cultural Bolshevism. They say cultural Marxism. They haven't even changed the terminology that much. They barely fucking massaged it.
You do know that they tried to kill Hitler 3 times and almost pulled it off, Kelly said, but Trump insisted, no, they were totally loyal to him. That model of the Third Reich, bastardized as it was how Trump wanted the American military modeled, the book claims, but this isn't new as well. Let's rewind all the way back to 1990 when Vanity Fair reported that Trump's former wife, the late Ivana Trump, had told her lawyer that Donald Trump occasionally read from a book of Hitler's collected speeches, My New Order, which he supposedly kept in a cabinet by his bed. And a friend of Trump told the magazine on the record that he had given Trump the book, saying he thought Trump would find it interesting. Now, Trump denied this, saying, quote, if I had these speeches, and I'm not saying that I do, I would never read them.
I love that. Dude, I love that. He's like, these are very scary materials. I would never read them. Even if I had them, I would never read them. It's like, dude, what? That makes it seem like you have them and you read them. And I don't even believe you can read, dog. Like, it's a very normal thing. You could just literally be like, yeah, I read it to understand pure evil or some shit. You know what I mean? In order never to repeat it again. Like, you could just say a normal thing in that situation. Like, I've read fucking Hitler's speeches on the broadcast. That doesn't mean I'm fucking a fan of Adolf Hitler, dog. You know what I mean? There's a difference between reading and understanding how fascism has taken root. Versus, I don't know, having like Hitler's teacup or something in your fucking house and routinely using it when your guests are around.
More recently, Trump has unapologetically entertained anti-Semites. Trump had Nick Fuentes and Kanye West as dinner guests just last year at Mar-a-Lago. Fuentes, well known as a white nationalist and a Holocaust denier. Trump's team saying that West invited him without their knowledge. Still, Kanye West just the month before threatened to go, quote, DEFCON 3 on all caps Jewish people. West had, according to one of his former business executives, praised Hitler and what the Nazi Party achieved for the German people. So we're seeing a pattern, and the pattern here very clear.
It was an immediate, I got.
So how did Trump go from supporting Dreamers and Pathway to Citizenship to hating on them?
About undocumented immigrants who are here in this country. Right now, they're protected as so-called Dreamers.
In 2017, he said he's going to protect Dreamers because it was polling at 90% when he was the president, dog. And he literally can't stop reading the room. That's what it is. Yeah, I think it's pretty funny that they used the Kanye West DEFCON 3 on Jews quote or tweet when it's like, yeah, he also said he loves Adolf Hitler. Like, I think that's it. That's like the most pro-Hitler thing you can say. Like, there's generals in the fucking Nazi army at the time that wouldn't say it like that. You know what I mean? He said he loves, too. Like, he made it long, too. Yeah, and then we have to stop dissing the Nazis. God, that was, what a time. What a time. What a time to be alive. You said you love Trump, baby? Yeah, I mean, I do. Because, one, Trump is currently the proto-fascist leadership that we are opposing. So me saying things about Donald Trump is very different, especially mostly in jest, in comparison to Adolf fucking Hitler. There's plenty of opportunity for you to comprehend where I'm coming from with respect to Donald Trump. Trump makes Hasan money. It don't matter, bitch. It don't fucking matter to me at all. That's copium. Every single person has said this. Oh, dude, you're going to fucking fall off after the election. Oh, dude, I can't wait for you to fall off after Bernie Sanders. You love Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders makes you money. Oh, you are going to fall off after fucking this. You're going to fall off after that. Every fucking day of my goddamn life, I've been hearing this since 2019. Hasn't happened yet. People are so mean to you, Lamau. I don't know how you do it. No, Trump is a content machine. And I've said time and time again that, like, Trump is at his best when he is removed from power and can just, like, stir shit up. Does that make sense? Like, if you gave Donald Trump 24/7 access to, like, a reality TV show, if he was, like, one, it would be basically the most watched show of all time. And two, he would 100%, instead of going to jail, if you were like, Trump, you have an option. We're not going to put you in jail. Instead, your punishment is you have to do television forever. Can't run for office ever again. You cannot have any power, but you can have a TV show. And he says yes to that, dude. Oh my God. First of all, win-win. He's happy because he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't want to fucking be the president. He just doesn't want to go to jail. He has a television show, which is where he thrives. You know what I mean? It'd be sick.
The children who were brought here, as you know, by their parents, should they be worried that they could be deported? And is there anything you can say to assure them right now that they'll be allowed to stay?
They shouldn't be very worried. They are here illegally. They shouldn't be very worried.
Yeah, I know he's not on the ballot, man. If it was a drama channel YouTuber, he'd be popping off so hard. If Trump was a drama channel YouTuber, he'd already made multiple videos about how I'm a fucking fake socialist because I run ads at the top of the hour. And how I say you can avoid seeing those ads as long as you subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. That's all I'm saying. New Dream vid, by the way? What the fuck is the Dream vid? Dream dropped a new vid? Bro, I don't know what this is. Why is Slatty Matty hitting me with motherfucking Vamp Life memes and then turning around and going, please watch this new Dream video? How long is it? Slat! Anyway. The blood clot picking out a location in summer 2024. His brain? No, his heart. I'm going to be honest with you. Wait, first of all, how much, what did I get rated at? Where is it at? Because I feel like I popped off on that ad break. Like, that was pretty good. 922. Yo, y'all are crazy. You underrate, actually. I feel like a lot of people are going to start making predictions, myself included. I am a lot of people, about how Joe Biden's going to die soon. And then, you know, with the hopes that, like, when he does die soon, then, like, you'll have a hit tweet. You know what I mean?
The Democratic Party, particularly among young voters when it comes to Israel's war against Hamas. 72% of young voters, according to this new poll, disapprove of how President Biden is handling the Israel-Hamas war. You've been very vocal in your full support for Israel. I see the Israeli flag behind you in your office there. You've been very clearly arguing that Hamas bears responsibility for the tragedy of what's going on in Gaza. Why do you think so many younger people, especially in your party, see it differently?
I really don't know. I do know that.
Why are you asking him, bro? He's got a head transplant. He don't know shit.
A lot of people are getting their perspective from TikTok. And I think if you're kind of getting your perspective on the world on TikTok, it's going to tend to be kind of warped or not reflective of the history and actually the way things absolutely are. And what is very clear is that Hamas started this, and they actually broke the ceasefire, and they attacked and murdered babies, children, women, attacked a music concert and everything. It's outrageous. And from
yeah, bro. TikTok is the reason why I think it's fucked up to kill 10,000 children. Like, it's so weird to say this, man. How do you have... He got the stroke. You know how Hamas was given the drug that makes you dab him up? He got the stroke that makes you evil, bro. What the fuck? Hamas needs to give him the drugs that make you dap people up. On that dabbing drug. He's like, oh. These young people must think killing 10,000 children is wrong because they saw it on TikTok as opposed to CNN.
From now on, it's been very clear that Israel would very much want there to be peace. But they've made it very clear that after October 7th, that's just not possible so long as Hamas is allowed to exist.
On immigration, which is a big issue going on in the Senate right now, you recently said, quote, I hope Democrats can understand that it isn't xenophobic to be concerned about the border, unquote.
They gave him a new sweater in exchange for this commentary. Is it fucked up to say he had another stroke? No, man, it's the first stroke. Kind of fucked up how Bernie hasn't condemned Fetterman. Bitch, what do you think happened to Bernie? Dude, he stroked out too. Remember? What happened to Bernie on the campaign trail? He had a heart attack, dog. What do you think? He got hit with the fucking pro-Israel heart attack gun. Just like Fetterman. Wake up, America. God damn. You know who else had a fucking stroke? Joe Biden, except he was always pro-Israel. Let's be real. They're using the fucking, just like Hamas used the drug that makes you dap people up. The American government is using the pro-Israel gun that gives you a stroke and makes you pro-Israel on all the progressives, man. It's fucked up. You should be removed from Congress. How could you question your campaign so hard? What do you mean? George Santos was in office. It doesn't work that way at all. Dude, there are people. I mean, there are people in the Senate, but also in like state Senate, for example, that openly switch party affiliations. Here's you glazing up John Fetterman a year ago. Don't even start with me, dude. Don't. I was purposely avoiding talking about his Israel stance, too, because I knew it was bad. And I didn't want to fucking sour on him because I was like, oh, yeah, in my mind, I think he's just, like, only saying, like, pro-Israel shit because he doesn't want to get clobbered by the Democratic majority for Israel. Can you send me a riot invite? No, bitch. Get it on your own. Steelers have had a really rough season. What do you mean? Give me a riot invite. What is happening? You thought this won't become relevant in the future? Is safe to ignore for now? No, literally. I straight up thought that was the case. Anyway. Did you already cover the New York Times article? No, I'm going to refuse to cover the New York Times article talking about how Trump can't run in Colorado. All right. Let's watch. Police cruiser crashes into a St. Louis gay bar. What happens next will shock you.
Got to get there now. There is something I can do.
Zach Gandy says the employees of Bar PM called him early Monday morning to tell him the news. He brought both tools and volunteers.
Right now, we're just literally getting things back to where they can open again.
Gandy says his organization, the Rudis Leather Society, calls the bar a safe space. Police say around 12:30 a.m., an officer was heading too close to a parked car and tried to correct himself but lost control of the cruiser, crashing into Bar PM. Chad Morris and James Pence are the married co-owners of the bar who live above it. Police say one of the owners...
Wait, are they doing special coverage on it? Really? Why the fuck are people doing special coverage on it? All right. Fucking Christ, dude. Let's see. Oh my God, they are.
Listen, there is
people are so starving for fucking Trump content, dude.
In this country that believe that the last election, because Trump has told them again and again, and his supporters have backed him on this, that there was something untoward about the last election, that it was stolen, that he was the true winner of that election. And, 60 to 70% of Republicans believe that. The people who attacked the Capitol on January 6th did so thinking they were doing their constitutional duty,
right?
Because they thought that something untoward has happened. So you can imagine the reaction if he is taken off the ballot.
All right. David Axelrod, thank you very much. Joan Biskupik, thank very much to you. I want to go to Ty Cobb now, the former Trump White House lawyer. So, Ty, 133 pages, and then you have the three dissents, which I'm trying to work my way through here. From what you've seen, what do you take away?
So the way I see this is that the Supreme Court has to take this. They can stay the dates in Colorado. They'll move expeditiously. I was struck by the majority opinion and the amount of verbiage devoted to the sort of straw man arguments. The real key issue in this case is Trump an officer of the United States in the context in which that term is used in Article 3 of the 14th Amendment.
Right.
And in 2010, Chief Justice Roberts explained in Free Enterprise that people don't vote for officers of the United States. Article 2, officers of the United States, is commonly understood in the Constitution to refer to appointed officials. And to the extent that the president or the vice president are included as an officer or included within the admonitions of the Constitution, they are typically highlighted, like in the impeachment clause, which specifically says president, vice president. So I think this case will be handled quickly. I think it could be 9-0 in the Supreme Court for Trump.
And can I just say, Ty, that would be, I mean, I had to emphasize, I don't ever like talking about who appointed whom because you like to just believe in the impartiality of justice. But nonetheless, it has become important. So, because Trump's already.
Shut the fuck
Supreme Court,
up. The impartiality of justice? What the
ruling.
fuck?
They didn't all rule against you.
Why are you defending the Supreme Court under the false notion of impartiality?
We're looking into the distance here.
God, I hate liberals.
If you're looking at 9-0, that will sure be a statement.
At least conservatives are fucking honest. At least conservatives are honest. They're honest about their pervetry. They're honest about their racism. They're literally like, no, dog, I'm court packing. And then they simultaneously say Democrats are court packing, but they're doing it too. It's like, fuck you. I fucking hate liberals, man.
I was on a panel with Professor Boat at the University of Chicago Institute of Politics discussing this, and heard his views, and his scholarship is excellent. On the other hand, there are multiple competing scholars who disagree and highlight the point that I just made about the multiple Supreme Court decisions.
Bro, Trump fell off hard. 18K Andy, bro, he fell off worse than me.
Not conclude that officers, as used in the context, as this context, include the president or the vice president. And after, I mean, there have been many constitutional professors, Steve Calabrese of Northwestern, probably the most prominent one, who, after reading all the scholarship, changed his mind. He was originally a supporter of the idea that this outcome was appropriate, but he later concluded, despite his strong feelings against Trump, that Trump would have to be beaten at the ballot box. And I think, sadly, that's the case. And it will be a race to get there. I mean, the Supreme Court, though, will not hesitate to move quickly on this. They know what the stakes are. They know what their responsibility is.
Right.
And they can delay some of these Colorado days.
One of the assholes in the chat said, half of his viewers died from COVID. What's your excuse? Half of my viewers got pussy for the first time ever, dude. Once they were fucking eligible to go outside, and then they never looked back. That's my excuse. My shit was thriving when all of you motherfuckers were like 15, 16-year-olds who can't go outside, okay? And then you hit 18 and you were like, oh my God, I'm touching grass. This shit's awesome. What the fuck? Peace.
Issues comment was that this ruling would supercharge the extremists. You know,
Sadly,
what do you think?
true.
As he walks out there, is this something he sees as basically a win in a certain sense?
Oh, totally. Oh, totally. This vindicates his insistence that this is a political conspiracy to interfere with the election, and that that he's the target, and people shouldn't tolerate that in America. It's doodah, but that's the way he tries to sell this. Now the reality is he committed these crimes in 2021. The Jack Smith's only been on the job for 13 months at most. So this is, justice has moved relatively speedy. This hasn't been stalled to attack
Look at how sick this shirt is, chat.
No, it is, though. I didn't mean to laugh. I wasn't laughing like it was humorous, but speedy, I suppose by the rules of the law. To so many, it doesn't feel that way, but I understand your point. The way the law works, it has, the courts. All right, Ty Cobb, thank you very much. As we get more, we'll be back with Ty. Our breaking news coverage continues, though, here with the crucial question: how will the decision to remove Trump from the ballot play on the campaign trail? And with voters receiving this news, we also have more breaking news this hour. Israel reportedly opened to a truce in order to free dozens of hostages. It could be a deal much better for Hamas than the last.
She's been incredible. A man who endorsed me before I was even running. I said, who's this guy from Iowa that keeps talking about Trump? And he's I call him the Marlboro Man. He's a handsome guy. State Senator Brad Azan. Brad, where's
Azan!
Brad? Thank you, Brad. Thank you very much. He's been great. He really, he was endorsing me before I ran. I said, who is that guy? But he was probably the first one in the whole country. State Representatives Bobby Kaufman, who's fantastic, by the way. And his father's fantastic, too. Derek Wolf, Craig Johnson, and, of course, Iowa GOP Chairman Jeff Kaufman. There's a slight relationship there. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, and a great job. And it's fantastic to be with you. We'll be back a few more times, believe it or not. We have that big day coming up. We'll be back. We got to be sure that we put this thing away. The poll numbers are scary because we're leading by so much. The key is you have to get out and vote because, I tell it all the time. If you don't get out and vote, we can put this to bed after Iowa, if you want to know the truth. We can put it to bed for them, too. They can go home and forget it. But you have to go out. Don't sit home and say, I think we'll take it easy, darling. It's a wonderful day, beautiful. Let's just take it easy, watch television, and watch the results now because crazy things can happen. You got to get out. This is really important. Our country's at stake.
Man.
We have
He's afraid,
a country that's never been in trouble like it is right now. So get out and vote, whether we're leading in the polls or not leading in the polls. And in this case, we're leading by 30 to 40 points, I guess. But we got to win. Maybe we can win by more than that. Because, if we win in a massive number, but it's a little bit less than that, they'll say, oh, he didn't meet expectations. It was because they're fake news. We know that, They're fake news. They are the biggest fakers in the world. During this holiday season, families all across America are struggling under the brutal weight of Crooked Joe's failures, disasters, heartless betrayals, and inflation. While the stock market is making rich people richer, and it's crazy what's going on. Rich people are getting richer. Of course, I'm a politician now, so we just keep chugging along, right? But you're going to have a crash the likes of which you haven't seen because of what they're doing. It's going to be scary. Biden's inflation catastrophe is demolishing your savings and ravaging your dreams. His sky-high energy prices, the highest we've ever had, are brutalizing your wallets. Our border has been erased. Criminals are running wild in our Democrat-run cities.
It sounds
and
like
thanks
Bernie
to
Sanders when he talked about the stock market.
The world is going up in flames. The whole world is up in flames. You didn't have any of this stuff when I was president. I'd call and I'd say, you can't do that to the head of a country. And they wouldn't do it. And Russia would have never done it. And Hamas would never have done it because Iran wouldn't have given them the money or had the money to do it. No, it's very terrible what's going on. Hard to believe, actually. Joe Biden and the Democrat Party are incapable of solving any problems. Crooked Joe Biden is a low IQ individual. He is truly the worst, most incompetent, and most corrupt president in the history of our country. Other than that, I think quite a bit of him. Can you believe what's going on in our country? Can you believe what's going on with the border? You watch.
My mom is laughing at Trump's
doesn't want to
bits.
show it too much, certain of them. And I will tell you what's going on in our border.
She loved the most corrupt. Other than that, I think quite a bit of him.
They are coming from all over the world. But with your vote in this election, together we're going to save America, and we're going to bring our country back from hell. Our country's been in hell. Not one thing has gotten better under Crooked Joe Biden. Under the Trump administration, you were better off. Your family was better off. Your neighbors were better off, and our country was better off. And you're also much safer when you had me behind the desk of the Oval Office.
He's cooking.
You were better off 5 years ago. Think of it. Just ask yourself, were you better off 5 years ago? Or are you better off today with the inflation, with bacon that costs you 4 times higher than you would have had to pay a little while ago? It's going up. Nobody's ever said anything like it. But what a difference a president makes. A president makes a big difference. Since Joe Biden took over, we've had a 3-year inflation rate of over 20%. Under my leadership, inflation was non-existent, and we had gasoline at $1.87 a gallon.
During COVID. Stop
After
clapping.
3 years of Bidenomics, the average monthly mortgage has gone from $1,700 under my administration to $3,400 under this terrible administration. As long as Joe Biden is in the White House, the American dream is dead. It's dead.
What?
There is no American dream.
Wait, Chuck Norris has more energy now in his 80s. Here's how. Click the link in the description box below to find out now. Or go to chuckdefense.com/Trump.
The next economic boom will begin the instant the world knows that crooked Joe Biden is gone and Donald J. Trump and us, all of us together, have won 4 more years as president of the United States. It's a very important thing because our country is really, it's a disaster. It's not even believable what's happened to our country in a period of 3 years. Powered by the momentum of our historic victory, by Christmas of next year, that's a couple of months later, by Christmas of next year, the economy will be roaring back, energy prices will be plummeting, the hordes of people charging across our border will have totally ended, the invasion will have stopped. And I heard somebody today say, one of these genius analysts, the stock market's good, the rich get richer, but the stock market's good because they think Trump is going to win the election. And I believe that's true. And whatever good they have right now is the fumes of what we left them. It's coming off the fumes of what we've left them. But the stock market is good because a lot of people think we're going to win the election. So that's an interesting fact. I felt that, but I didn't want to say it. But I think we will say it. Because just like 3 years ago, they will know that I will catch. And when you have people that are pouring across the border at levels like no country has ever seen, not us, no country has ever seen, third world nations have never seen, they'd stop them with sticks and stones, I say. But they'll know that I'll catch them and we'll send them home, and the entire world will be safer and more peaceful because everyone will know that the days of Biden surrenders are over. So many mistakes. There's been nothing good that's happened. Nothing good. What good has happened in the last 3 years? Our country's gone to hell. As soon as I get back in the Oval Office, I'll also immediately end the war on Christians. I don't know if you feel it. You have a war. There's a war. Under crooked Joe Biden, Christians and Americans of faith are being persecuted, and government has been weaponized against religion like never before, and also presidents like never before. Here I am. I always say Al Capone was treated better than I was treated. Scarface, Al Capone, he was a tough one. Biden and his corrupt Department of Injustice have sent SWAT teams to arrest pro-life activists. They've targeted conservative parents at school board meetings who don't want filth taught to their children. It's filth. What they're teaching in schools is filth and nonsense, and we can't let that happen. But they're being targeted, and now the communists, Marxists, and fascists are going hard after Catholics, even plotting to send spies into Catholic churches. It's all come out.
They've even fucking made the Pope gay, folks.
Days gone by.
They even sent an infiltrator to the Pope.
Why would you vote for a Democrat? What they're doing to Catholics, I don't know what's going on with the Catholics, but they're really being persecuted. Why would you vote for Biden, and why would you vote for a Democrat? A new report from the House Judiciary Committee proves that the Biden FBI actually targeted Catholics as potential domestic terrorists. Do you believe this? And, you know, evangelicals will not be far behind, because when that starts, it starts happening on a very major scale. When I'm back in the White House, never again will your government be used to target Christians and other religious believers. Upon taking office, I will create a new federal task force on fighting anti-Christian bias to be led by a fully reformed Department of Justice that's fair and equitable.
He's going to prosecute
its mission will be to investigate all forms of illegal discrimination, harassment, and persecution against Christians in America.
I'm literally going to jail. If Trump becomes president and he follows through on this, which he probably won't be able to, but if he did, I would go to jail so quick. Because this is like anti-white bias,
the other things
anti-white discrimination.
I say that we will stop, and I've said it. we will stop men from participating in women's sports. I mean, the whole thing that you have. No, but things that you say.
I mean, this is just identity politics, by the way.
You can't believe you're up here and saying it. We are for parental rights. You have to say that. No, think of it. We are for parental rights. Who believes that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, who would ever have to say a thing like that? We're for parental rights. Of course we're for parental rights. But the Democrats aren't. They're fascists. They're not. They want school boards. They want people to take your children and do things with your children that are not even speakable. Americans of faith are not a threat to our country. Americans of faith are the soul of our country, and they have been from the beginning. I will defend religion, and I will defend In God We Trust. We will defend In God We Trust.
Live from Southern California, my jail cell? Oh, yeah.
And you know that very important phrase is under siege. You do know that, right? We will defend
I'm
it
not going to lie.
100%.
Like,
When Joe,
at that point, obviously, I'd leave the country. Like, I probably wouldn't stay
Jesus
here
Christ.
if I was going to go to jail.
do if you're celebrating Christmas, right? He didn't mention Jesus Christ.
You know, I'd go to a Western nation that doesn't have an extradition policy to the United States of America, like Israel.
When I was president, we brought back the beautiful phrase "Merry Christmas," and
Yeah,
I said
did.
I'd do that. I'm very proud
Dude,
of that.
no one
actually,
was saying
because,
it
as I said
before
at the
him.
beginning, that was really under siege. And when I
No
lit
one
the
was saying Merry Christmas
each
for me.
year,
Brought
it was
it back.
my honor
That's
to
true.
publicly celebrate the true source of Christmas joy, which is Jesus Christ. As president, I kept every promise I made to Christians and more, and I think everybody in this room understands that very well. That's pretty well documented. In our first 4 years, we appointed nearly 300 federal judges and 3 great Supreme Court justices. I stood up for religious liberty at home and all around the world.
He literally did a Muslim
Innocent life, and I defended the Judeo-Christian values of our nation's founding. I proudly recognized Israel's eternal capital and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem, which is a big thing. I also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and you know they were looking to get that for 72 years.
Nobody even clapped for that. They're like, what?
Out,
What is the Golan Heights?
Every year they'd fly in, they'd discuss it, they'd fly out, and I got it done in about 12 minutes. We got it done very quickly. And with the historic Abraham Accords, I even made peace in the Middle East. Unfortunately, they haven't taken it any further. It should have been taken. We could have had everybody signed up. It's no wonder crooked Joe Biden and the far-left lunatics are desperate to stop us by any means necessary. They are willing to violate the U.S. Constitution at levels never seen before in order to win this election. Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. It's a threat. They're weaponizing law enforcement for high-level election interference because we're beating them so badly in the polls. The new CBS poll, remember I always used to talk about polls, but only if they were good. I don't mention them if they were bad. I had a tendency if they were bad, I didn't talk about them.
That's
right? I don't
true.
know. That's probably sort of like a little bit like the fake news would do, so I feel very embarrassed by it. But the new CBS poll just out has us at 58% of the state, with the sanctimonious 40 points behind us, 40 points. The new Morning Consult poll, that's in your state. The Consult poll has us at 66% nationwide, with DeSantis at 11% and Haley at 11%. And then they said Haley is surging because she went from 9 to 11. I went up 7 points. She went up 2 points. And it's harder to go up 7 when you're almost at the top. There's not that many points left. So I went up 7, she went up 2, and the headline was, Haley is surging because she caught the sanctimonious. The Fox poll has us trouncing the primary field at 69%, with DeSantis at 13% and Haley at 9%. And, you know, it's sort of interesting. He did an interview the other day, and the announcer, this was sort of a straight interview at a major network. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to have Governor Ron DeSantis with us. No, it's DeSantis. So that's good branding. Do you agree? That's good. Nah, but he is sanctimonious. In the new Rasmussen poll of the general election, we're dominating by 10, 11, 12, even 14 points. And the Washington Post had it up 11, and then they said, "Oh, this must be an outlier."
Dude,
they spend
isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that, like, look, I love Fango Lives, right? Great chatter. We have our disagreements, but like, we've been watching Donald Trump for the past fucking 30 minutes, 40 minutes, almost an hour. And to think that this man, according to Fango, is like just as bad mentally as Joe Biden is so crazy. He isn't saying anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you think that Joe Biden can keep up, if you think Joe Biden could fucking hit these bars and put together a coherent string of sentences back to back to back, regardless of how psychotic it is, right? You're out of your mind.
Election of 2024, we're not going to allow it.
He literally does all the time. He just never show it. That is, oh my God, I'm gonna die, bro. Joe Biden literally reads from a fucking paper and does a poor job at it. We watch Joe Biden regularly when he does press meetings. Like, that's crazy. Biden on prompter can't even fucking read. He's like, ugh, like he's literally, it looks like he's squeezing as hard as possible. Fango wasn't here, so Mega said it. Yeah, exactly. Fango and Mega are two fucking EV evangelists in the chat. They literally cannot get Brandon's dick out of their brains because, and this is something I readily admit as well, the IRA was pretty solid for fucking battery development in the country and shit. So they're so incredibly fucking dignitized by Brandon for that reason that they have to like lie to themselves and others around them as though they're like, as though Brandon actually sounds like he has like decent mental fortitude.
We almost said, keep him out. Let's keep him out, right? No, he's always going to be invited. This is far more than a campaign. This is the greatest political movement in the history of our country. That's what it is. This is a great political movement. This is not just a campaign. And together we will once again fight for Iowa families and Iowa farmers, just as we did 4 straight years. We fought for you. We've done more for the state of Iowa than any president ever in history. There's never been because when you
y'all
add it
are
all
hyping
up
up Trump more than Biden, mostly as a
joke.
No, I've said it over and over again. Donald Trump is, of course, going to be worse for the country than fucking Joseph Robinette Biden. The point is, I'm also not delusional and going to act like Joe Biden has like a decent fucking... Joe Biden looks like he has his mental faculties in order. I'm not going to say that because it's not true. You're not voting for Joe Biden. You're voting for stability. You're voting for the Democratic Party. You're voting for business as usual politics when you vote for Joe Biden. You're not like, oh man, Joe Biden is single-handedly changing the course of history. He's not.
Children. If you don't love your children, then I haven't done that much for you. But some people love their children. Does everybody in this room love their children? I do. Does anybody in this room not love their children? Raise your hand. Oh, that guy in the blue jacket raises his hand. But no, it's very important because people were going to the heirs. You know, you inherit a farm, you have a 40, 50% tax to pay, and they fight with you over the tax, and they end up going to the bankers. The banks have been so bad, not the local bank. Some of these big banks have been horrible people running them. But, you know, the banks, they loan the money, and they end up taking over the farm. We're not doing that, so we ended the estate tax, and farms and small businesses now, they don't have to go into hock and end up losing everything. And the parents are very happy about that. They're looking down and they're saying, I'm so happy. I love President Trump because that was a big thing. I ended the NAFTA disaster, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with the USMCA, the best trade deal ever made. And that was a giant win for Iowa farmers. I took on the communist Chinese like no administration in history. Communist China was doing a number on the farmers, and you know it better than anybody, bringing hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into our treasury when...
I thought the farmers hated him for the tariff.
10 cents from China. Nobody had ever brought in any money. I brought in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. In fact, China is not now doing very well, and a lot of people think it was because of what I did with respect to all of the hundreds of billions I brought in.
Yo, he's winning the YouTuber constituency.
Cancel it because it's
Bro,
so much
real life
money.
Lord just voted for Trump illegally, dog. He's like, yeah, you're right. Oh my God, China is gonna collapse.
Let's not do that for hundreds of billions of dollars.
Johnny Harris be like, dude, you're so right. China is about to collapse.
$8 billion straight out of the tariffs I took in from China, a large part of which came right back to the state of Iowa, right? That's why my people in the back, my great geniuses, sir, please don't say that too often because you sound very conceited when you say that you guarantee that Iowa is going to vote for you. You guarantee Iowa. I said, I got him $28 billion, of course. Who else is going to get him $28 billion? I said, go out and buy more land and larger tractors. Do you remember that? But you know what? They stuck with me because we had a...
No, dumbass. You had to do that as a bailout because of the tariffs, and it still didn't work, right? Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Am I misremembering?
I don't even talk about it because of COVID. But we made one of the greatest trade deals ever made. They buy $50 billion worth of product from this country, and they were buying nothing before that. They were buying nothing. So it was an amazing thing that happened, and it's an honor to have done it. And I do believe I could say that, but I won't say it. I will not say that because my people have said. So I will not guarantee it, but I pretty much guarantee it, okay? Let's vote against...
Yeah.
Let's vote against Trump because he gave us $28 billion. I don't know. It's somehow they got a problem with that one, don't they? Huh? The people that are running against us and who, frankly, were not in favor of farmers. Ron DeSanctimonious was not a friend of the farmer. He fought against the farm bill. He fought against ethanol hard, very hard. Now all of a sudden he loves ethanol. About 2 weeks ago it started, right? No one gets abused on trade worse than American agriculture, yet no other president lifted a finger for you. Nobody lifted a finger for you in Iowa, nobody. Under my leadership, we will have a great rebirth of loyalty to the
I'm not kidding. I'm pretty sure Iowa farmers in general, not necessarily big Trump fans, due to the tariffs. If I feel like I remember.
And I'm going to pass something that's so important. We were just about set to do that. We had the greatest economy in history. We're just about set, and then we hit COVID. COVID came, a gift from China, from Wuhan. I told them it came from the Wuhan lab. I said it right from the beginning. I never changed. Trump, you ever see the hats? Trump was right about everything. Some of the things I don't want to be right about, like I think our country's in more danger now for World War III than ever before. I don't want to be right about that. But we have a man who's grossly incompetent, and he's talking about nuclear weapons and negotiations. He doesn't even know what the hell he's talking. He can't even find the stairs to get off a stage. All right, there they are. There they are. They're all over the place. Jump off the front, but don't walk into the back wall. You ever see that? He finishes a speech, if you call it that. He did a news conference the other day, and he goes,
he's right.
Okay, let's see. I did news conferences in the White House. You. He did Jim Jones of NBC. Oh, is he here? Oh. The guy says, Mr. President, what about this? What about that? What about that? I would like to tell you the following. He's reading the answer, meaning he knows the questions and they write down the answer. He reads the answer.
He's fucking right, dude.
If I ever did that,
and if you deny it, you're gonna come across like a fucking silly person. You should be endlessly mad at the Democratic Party for literally allowing an avenue attack such as this one to exist. As the only guy.
And Jim Jordan's great, and Jamie is doing a great job. But the Republicans are being much nicer because they're saying, let's do an inquiry first. They didn't do an inquiry with me. I walk in, they impeached me. So these are bad people, bad people. I will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. So that means if China or any other country make us pay a 100% or 200% tariff, which they do, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff, identical tariff of 100 or 200% right back. We'll take in big.
Look, by the way, there are definitely real concerns, even though Iowa farmers are Republicans, like they're lifelong Republicans as shit. There are definitely very real concerns amongst even Iowa farmers, if I'm not mistaken, again, about Trump putting tariffs at the tip of the spear in his farmers at the tip of the spear in the tariff war in Iowa against China.
Baby, drill. We will drill.
So when he brings that shit up, it's like...
We'll put straws in the ground and we'll have oil coming up. We have more oil than anybody, oil and gas. We have more than any other country in the world. And, you know, we took it from 4th place to 1st place in just a short period of time. We were going to make so much money. We were making so much. We were energy independent. Think of that. Gas prices, oil prices down so low. Record numbers in some cases, but down so low. And we were going to sell it all over the world, fill up our strategic reserve, which I was doing very cheaply by comparison to what they're doing now. He used the money just to have a better election. He used a lot of the money. It's drained. It's the lowest point it's ever been right now. That's meant for military. That's meant for real problems, not to keep your gasoline price down so that you can get some votes during an election. But they brought it down to the lowest level in order to try and remain relevant for an election. It's very terrible what they've done. They've done a lot of bad things. As part of our common sense energy policies, I will once again stand up for Iowa ethanol like I have done. I've been your savior. Many people did not want anybody to stand up for it. I just promised as president, I issued a historic rule declaring that E15 would be made available all year round. You know what that means. I did it all year. It was 8 months, and I did it all year round. Nobody thought that was going to happen, and letting them use the existing pumps. Now, that doesn't sound very glamorous, but it was hundreds of millions of dollars would have had to be spent. That would have been an increase in price to you. And I let them use the existing pumps. Very simple. I brought in experts. I said, well, what's the difference? They said, well, sir, the old ones are actually better. I know that because a lot of times equipment is much better. The older equipment is a lot better than the new equipment. And like grass cutters. All you have in a grass cutter today is environmental computers and equipment. They forgot to put blades on it to cut the grass. So sometimes you'd rather have like a blade. Give me a blade to cut the grass. In contrast to my unwavering support for Iowa ethanol and agriculture, Ron DeSanctimonious wants to literally bankrupt Iowa farmers. That's what he'd do because his policies are horrible. DeSantis spent his entire political career vindictively trying to kill the ethanol industry, voting again and again to devastate Iowa farmers by eliminating the billions of dollars generated each year from ethanol and wiping out 48,000 Iowa jobs. He voted against it. Unlike DeSantis, I will be your ethanol champion for 4 more years. You have 4 more years of security. And I will also rescue the ethanol industry by canceling crooked Joe Biden's insane ethanol-killing electric vehicle mandate on day 1. Everything has to be electric.
Bro, he's in Iowa. Of course he's fucking pumping ethanol, dude. What are we talking about? It's corn, baby. We're in corn country, brother.
They're going to all be voting for Trump because they're going to this mandate.
We love ethanol, don't we, folks? I would make my child.
To Mexico,
I'm giving Barron all the ethanol.
Many went to Canada, and the rest went to China. Whatever we have left, it's peanuts compared to what it should have been. But this electric car thing is just crazy. If you want to drive, maybe let's say you're here. If you say, let's take a drive to beautiful, safe Chicago, it's so safe.
Oh, he's so good. I love when he shits on EVs, even though I have an EV and I like EVs. It's so funny.
You know, it's just crazy. It's these people, and they know it. They know it's crazy. They don't want to even listen to people. Same thing with the trucking industry. They want to have electric trucks. So a truck, a big, beautiful truck like Peter built or one of them.
It's going to be gay.
It's the big ones. They can go 18-wheelers. They can go about 2,000 miles, they say, 2,000, on a big tank of diesel. And an electric truck comparable, which you can't be comparable because you need so much room for the battery. Most of the area that you're going to carry your goods is going to be battery.
He's right.
But assuming we take away that problem, which is not easy to take away, you'd have to stop approximately 7 times to go 2,000 miles, right? You go about 300 miles, and they don't want to change that.
Megaphonics is so mad.
If I were sitting there and that was explained to me and verified, I would say, of course you're not going to do that. We'll destroy our supply chain. But the Attorney General would agree with me. I mean, you don't have to be a great expert to know. You can't do that. One goes 2,000 miles and the other one goes 300 miles, and you don't have any capacity because half of it's got to be for battery. The batteries are massive. Crooked Joe puts China
I think the
first.
funniest part of it, part about it is that he should just be honest and be like, it's because of China that I'm scared of electric vehicles.
He puts everyone first, but he puts America last. He puts Iowa last. He puts our workers last. He puts our farmers last, and he puts everything that's good last. And by the way, they abandoned Iowa.
Like a Republican style commentary on this matter from like a Democrat would be like, if Donald Trump was a Democrat, he'd be like, China is stealing our lunch money on the electric vehicles, folks. They're dominating it. They're dominating Europe. What I'm going to do is beat China's ass, folks. We're going to make sure China has nothing left. They're going to be going back to the horse and buggy by the time I'm done with them.
So job number one when we return to the White House will be to restore peace through strength. Peace through strength. For 4 straight years, I kept America safe. I kept Israel safe. I kept Ukraine safe. There was no talk of this. And I kept the entire world safe. A great gentleman, Viktor Orban, Hungary. He's the leader. He's the boss. He's everything you want to call him. He's a tough guy. He's tough, very well. He knows Russia very well. He knows Ukraine very well. They were saying, what do you think is going on with the world? He's literally just an incredibly
cucked individual.
The world is Trump isn't there anymore.
We
didn't have any of these
worst of
problems.
both worlds.
What would you suggest?
Cuck the EU
back as president
and also cuck to Russia at the same time.
And you won't have any of these problems. He said when Trump was there, these leaders, China, Russia, all of them, they were afraid of the United States. They feared the United States. They respected him. And I thought it was a nice statement, so I repeat it as often as I can, because I know one thing, the press is not going to repeat it. You know, you might as well repeat it yourself. This is a lesson. Repeat it yourself, because they're not going to be repeating it. I'm the only candidate, I think you know this, who can make a very important promise. So I think the world's in more danger than it's ever been because of the power of weaponry, and I will be the only one that can say this with great surety. I will prevent World War III. World War III. We're very close. I don't know if you feel it. I don't know, Madam Attorney General, if you feel it, but we're very close to World War III when you see these discussions taking place. You know, we had an axiom, never, ever talk nuclear, never mention the word nuclear. It was not a word that was mentioned because the power is so ridiculous, and we didn't mention it. Now, all the time, you're hearing nuclear from them. From them. You're hearing it from other countries. It was unacceptable. It was a word that you couldn't say. And all of a sudden, you're hearing that word all the time. And this wouldn't be a war like with army tanks running back and forth, shooting at each other, World War I, World War II. This would be obliteration. This would be the worst thing there's never been. This would be obliteration. You cannot use the word. You cannot discuss that word. But I rebuilt our military to a level that it's never been before. And that includes that, you know, our nuclear stockpile. I have no choice. I hated doing it, but it's all.
If World War III happens, it's 100% your fault. Yeah, dude. You know it. It's because I served the top of the hour ad break, right? That's why. All hell broke loose, you know? Classic.
Everything has been rebuilt. We've done a great job, really an amazing job. And the only reason we had to do that is because China is building their heart out with nuclear, and Russia, as you know, has comparable to us. So it's a very dangerous position when you see the words that are being spewed. And I'm saying, and I'm watching it, I'm watching his language and his body language. I'm saying he's saying the exact opposite of what should be said. We're very unsafe, and we have 11 months to go, you know? That's a long time.
I mean, Russia literally invaded Ukraine because of me.
Under the Trump administration, we had the most secure border in U.S. history by far. We built 561 miles of border wall and got Mexico to give us 28,000 soldiers free of charge. That was much more than, as I said, we'll get Mexico to pay for a big portion of it. This is much more. We have 28,000. I had 28,000 soldiers free of charge. I said to them, hey, you're going to have to give us 28,000 soldiers.
Damn, shit's heating up in the chat.
No, we will not do that. I said, of course you will. They said
It's heating up so hard, Megaphonics got fucking clapped by Fossabot.
They said, you're going to have to do it. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to do it. And they said no. And then I said, here's what's going to happen. On Monday morning at 7 o'clock, we're going to impose a 25% tariff or tax on all of your goods, including the cars that you stole away from us in terms of manufacturing of cars. You know, they have 32% of our car production was taken away years ago by Mexico. 32%. But every car is going to have a 25% tax on it.
Yeah,
we're gonna take
NAFTA is so bad, which is why I made new NAFTA, which is the same, but with a different name.
Please, sir. They came in the room 5 minutes later, and they said it would be our great honor to supply you with 28,000 soldiers. And we had 28,000 soldiers, and we had very few people. We had the best record. This is as we're building the wall. Then I was going to add another 200 miles to the wall that we had just completed, because all of a sudden you needed more, because it's like, you know, that's the way it works, right? They come, have to walk a little bit further out. We're going to add another 200.
Yeah, also, yeah, the taking away rhetoric is so funny, because it's like as though corporations were forced at gunpoint to go to Mexico.
We don't want any walls. We want to have open borders. And nobody could believe it. And I, you know, when I heard that during the campaign, I figured maybe it's, just words, but who could be so stupid? Who could be so horrible to our country? What they're doing to our country, they actually meant it. Because they took all of the wall that I had ready to just be installed, could have been done in 3 weeks, and they took that wall and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. And it was all the exact stuff that Border Patrol wanted. We had wires in it for technology. We had concrete, rebar, and very hardened steel. That's exactly what, and they had to have openings to see. I was going to put up concrete plank, and it would have looked fine. But no, but think of it, it's so sad. And they actually sold a lot of it for 5 cents on the dollar. Now they'll end up building it at some point because, 2 things that work. Remember the old days with the campaigns? I said there's only 2 things that work, because your phone that you have and your computer that you have, in about 2 weeks it's obsolete. You have to buy a new one. The 2 things that work are wheels and walls, right? Wheels will always be there, and walls will always be there. They're the only 2 things that
I like that he talked about planned obsolescence and then said, like, wheels and walls do not have planned obsolescence, but as though that's the reason why a wall is a necessity.
I mean, if you look today over the last, frankly, look over the last 3 years, but you look now, it's so bad. It's like nothing in the history of the world. Yesterday, we had a single highest day record of illegal border crossings ever recorded, 12,600, one day. We have no idea who any of them are. They come from Africa. They come from Asia. They come from...
He leaks messages from Pokemon and XQC. Dream did? About what? Oof.
And nobody's there to check them. And the Border Patrol's incredible, by the way. They want to do it, but they're told not to do their job.
They're fake?
It's crazy what's going on. They're ruining our country. And it's true. They're destroying the blood of our country. That's what they're doing. They're destroying our country. They don't like it when I said that. And I never read Mein Kampf. They said, oh, Hitler said that in a much different way. No, they're coming from all over the world, people all over the world. We have no idea. They could be healthy. They could be very unhealthy. They could bring in disease that's going to catch on in our country, but they do bring in crime. But they have them coming from all over the world.
But that's exactly why Hitler said it.
Destroying the blood of our country.
That's literally how Hitler said it.
Our country. And we're going to have to get them out. We're going to have to get mass numbers of these, especially the criminals.
Bro, he literally said they're yelling at me because Hitler said it. But also, have you thought maybe he's right without saying those words?
Insane asylum. But I have to say it, they're emptying out the insane asylums from all over the world. Why wouldn't they? I would do it if I were running Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Mexico. They're emptying out their prisons into our country. How stupid are we to allow this to happen? This week, the Biden administration closed 2 vital railway crossings so that border agents could be redirected to help process even more migrants. They were coming in. You saw the trains with thousands and thousands of people on top of them and in them. Thousands and thousands of people pouring into our country. And we actually allow them to come in. They process them. Where do you come from? Where were you? I was in a jail. Oh, okay, you can come in. Come on in. They let anybody in. And you have other people that study. You probably saw Melania this week, where she held a great, beautiful reception for people that came into our country legally. They studied, they worked, they had to take exams, they had to talk about our flag and George Washington and everything else. It was a beautiful day. But that's the way it's supposed, because we want people to come in, but they have to come in legally. But what's happening now is the whole system is being underrun. And no country can sustain this, by the way. You know, you have children going to school, they don't speak the language. You have children going to school speaking languages that nobody even knows what the language is. There are many languages in the world. They don't even know what the language is. And they're sitting in classrooms, and there's no room for our students in the classrooms, and they don't speak the language. On my first day back in the White House, I will terminate every open border policy of the Biden administration, stop the invasion on our southern border, and begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. We have no choice. No country can sustain this. We will restore law and order to our communities, and I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical, out-of-control prosecutor, of which we have many, in America. I have a guy named Deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged person. He happens to be after me. You know, the great one is the boxers hoax. They have a boxers. Biden.
It's just like no longer funny when he goes and does the whole fascist
for 50
shtick,
years.
You know what I mean?
He's got
I can't even enjoy my favorite Trumpisms.
He had it brought to China.
Then he's just literally like, we have to kill, we have to kill the poison that is poisoning our blood in the exact same way that Hitler said it, by the way. But I'm saying it differently somehow. Please believe me.
But me, with a tiny amount, and I come under the Presidential Records Act, which gives me the absolute right to do it. With me, oh, I'm different. But mine was in a secure location. Everything was tippy-top.
Like, it's funny. He's like, yeah, there's new undiscovered languages that they're speaking in our schools. It's like a funny take.
They're not going to do anything.
I mean, he's doing that.
They leaked it. They leaked it.
Simultaneously claim that you got to fucking.
They talk about classified documents.
You got to do Hitlerian purges in the country.
But he had many classified documents. Just think about it. And they leaked that he's going to be okay. He did nothing wrong. He did everything wrong. And he made it impossible for them. And he took things when he was a senator, which Dick Durbin is on television. He's a senator, Democrat. He's saying, oh, if he did that, that's a crime. That's a terrible thing. And he never came under the Presidential Records Act because he was vice president and he was a senator. But for him, it's okay. For me, and I have total protection. I'm allowed to do it. You know, the New York Times wrote an article, and I'm sure the writer got fired, but basically it said, please, 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 Mr. President, and that was the title, something like that. Please, 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 Mr. President, like James Brown. Did you ever hear please, please, please? Please, 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 Mr. President, may we have, they said the only right they have is to say, please, Mr. President, may we have them, because I'm entitled to them. And this was in the New York Times, big article, and yet they leak that Biden has no problem, but they continue because I have a deranged prosecutor. He's a deranged person. And the good news is people get it. That's why my poll numbers are so high, I believe. Because, you know, I would really have, I think we'd be winning by a lot. But now we're winning by numbers that nobody can believe. I think it's why our poll numbers, because they see this persecution that goes on in this two tiers of justice or injustice, and they don't like it. They don't want that. This is not what America is all about. So I appreciate everything, and I appreciate all the support we get, because that makes a big difference. When you have poll numbers where, you know, where we're like literally 80 and 90 points higher in some cases, and some of these guys. We have guys running like from Arkansas. He's been at 0 for 7 months. Ada Hutchinson, I call him Ada. It's Asa. The only reason I corrected is I'll say, he didn't know his name. He didn't know his name. He must be cognitive, y'all. Don't forget, I do most of this stuff without teleprompters. They do. Biden. No, if I say Ada Hutchinson, oh, they'll do it anyway. I just gave them an idea. Look, they're starting to write that. They'll say, he didn't know his name. No, it's Asa, but I call him Ada. But this guy he's the governor of Arkansas. He's got the personality of that floor tile. See the tile? There's a broken tile right there. That's about as much personality. And he's a nasty guy. He's got 0 for how many months is he
By the way, we still don't know why he calls him Ada Hutchinson instead of Asa.
running? He's at 0. Chris Christie, who's got a serious case of Trump derangement syndrome. He's sick. Between him and Liz Cheney, does she have Trump derangement syndrome or what? No. And I let Scooter Libby out. You know, it's a friend of their family. They didn't do anything for him. I did. They didn't get him out. I got him out. I gave him a pardon because he was treated very unfairly. Scooter Libby, but he was a very good friend of the Cheney family. They didn't do anything for him. I did. But, you know, you'd think they'd be thankful for that, but they don't talk about that. They say I'm a threat to democracy. No, Joe Biden is a threat to democracy by all of the things that we talk about. But I'm also going to indemnify...
Oh, my God, that Trumpinator teddy bear goes hard.
Law enforcement officials throughout the United States for being destroyed by the radical left for taking...
Trump is at 29K, Andy. Oh, my God, he's falling
They
off.
want to destroy them because they want to put criminals away. They're forced to do nothing. They cannot do anything when they want to. They do want to. They're the greatest people. The police, and I just met a lot of them in the backstage. They're all like incredible people. But, you know, they're under threat of losing their pension, their house, and their family, and losing everything. If you touch these people, I mean, you let what's going on where the people are going into these stores and robbing them, and even the clerks, they fire clerks if they try and stop them. I mean, if I had a clerk that was willing to stop them, I would say, you are the greatest. You love our country, our company, our store, and they fire them. It's like
killing a mentally ill homeless man for stealing soap at the Target and being celebrated as the guy who loves our country. That's why he did it.
Their pension. We're not going to
Why
let
the fuck would any dollar store employee that's getting paid fucking minimum wage put his life on the fucking line? Get out of here.
Pursuing a criminal, because that's what we have to do. In addition, we will take over our horribly run Washington, D.C., and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital so that it no longer is a nightmare of murder and crime. It's people are being murdered there every day. Murdered in our capital. Can you imagine when these people come from foreign countries and they may not be rich, but their capitals are safe. They have no crime. They take care of it fast. But can you imagine they come into this thing and they read that 3 people were murdered last night in Washington, D.C., and they have graffiti all over the place. On those beautiful marble columns, they have graffiti all over the place. Graffiti, graffiti, graffiti. The streets, they look like, I mean, I drove into Washington a few weeks ago for a court case. One of the many. I should get to know it very well. I can't get a fair trial. I watch this whole thing is ridiculous. But
time travel.
But for a court case, I'm driving over a road where it's almost all paper garbage. And, you know, you can see paper. I know paper. I know cans. When cans start to literally rot, when paper is rotting, it's been there for a long time. Nobody cleans up anything. The medians, the dividers, they're all broken and falling down. It looks like an absolute slum. And when foreign leaders come into Washington and they see that, I don't care how good you are as a president, they go back and they say, that country's got a lot of problems. We're going to clean it up. We're going to make it the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world. Our parks will be cleaned. All tents and graffiti will be removed. You have to see some of these beautiful parks that you remember 5 years ago. You'd go there. They were so beautiful and safe. But you take a look at some of these parks, you can't even see the grass. There are people all over the place living there with tents. Slum areas will be demolished and rebuilt to the highest level of architectural elegance. We're going to have to do that. I know it sounds rough, but we're going to have to do that. Washington, D.C. will become a symbol of beauty, security, freedom, and strength again. We have to have that. We can't let this happen. They've taken over the Capitol. In addition to our capital, we're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope and safety and beauty better than they've ever been before. I mean, you're not thinking too much about that in Iowa, but, you know, you want to see your country be great. It will be the greatest investment ever made in them, and we're going to work closely with Democrat leaders. They're all run by Democrats, and they're all doing horribly. And all of these failing places, we're going to make sure that this rebuilding will be a lasting and very compassionate one. We're going to rebuild our cities. And
if you explain why the Colorado news is liberal propaganda, what do you mean it's liberal propaganda? I mean, it happened, but it doesn't really matter because the Supreme Court is going to fucking yeet that into oblivion.
Fathers and play in the park without being beat up, molested, or shot. Students can walk to school in peace. They used to walk to school. Today, you need an armored vehicle to take them to school. Crime rates will plummet, and people will they're going to be really longing to move back into the city. You know, when I was young, my dream was to move into Manhattan. I wanted to build buildings in Manhattan. Oh, that was my dream. And today, people are leaving. You know, they're leaving. They're afraid to stay in the cities. Unlike DeSantis, will always protect Social Security and Medicare. He was against Social Security. He was willing to take Social Security and do numbers on it and slice and dice, but he also wanted to move the minimum age up to 70. That's a big move for people because you don't, listen, we have so much liquid gold under our feet. We don't have to do that stuff. We don't have to do that. Why should seniors be hurt with Medicare and Social Security? We're also going to fight to give you much better health care because Obamacare, as you know, is a catastrophe for American families. And as I say, even Elizabeth Warren, who often is referred to as, as Pocahontas because of her great Indian heritage, but she even agrees that it needs to be fixed. It has to be fixed. It's too expensive for the people. And we're going to get it done. We almost had it done, but then John McCain voted it down. After campaigning for 10 years to kill it,
Wait,
John McCain voted it down. Too bad.
He's still trying to fucking take down Obamacare? That's so dumb.
Good. We're going to make it much less expensive for the people with much, much better health care. You're going to get that, and we deserve it.
Bro, that shit also was not favorable. Not like the only reason why I thought it was John McCain, certainly. But like that shit was not favorable at all.
Insanity and inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. And I will not give one penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. A mask mandate. And as I said before, something that's very popular, I can't believe I have to say it, but I might as well. I will keep men out of women's sports. Is that okay? You see the weightlifting records? They're being broken by hundreds of pounds. One stood for, I think, 18 years.
What are you What is he talking about?
They're coming in, they're wiping it out like 158 pounds. So it's just so demeaning to women, the whole thing. I mean, women, great athletes, I mean, it's just so unfair. They're going to have records. They'll have, look, eventually that's got to happen. It's going to happen with me. But you're going to have like these records where the record will be here, but you'll have this blip for a period of 3 or 4 years. Beep. Like that. They're going to say, they'll look back at 100 years, they'll say, what the hell happened there? Who was that? That was one strong woman, wasn't it? I will fully uphold the Second Amendment. We will restore free speech, and I will secure our elections. Our goal will be one day voting with paper ballots and voter ID. Very simple. But until then, Republicans must win. We have to win. Once we get in, we'll change that. But we have to win. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country.
He's back on his transphobic shit. For a while, he was actually pointing out how weird it was that Republicans cared about trans folks. What are you talking about? I mean, he's got to do a little bit of transphobia. He's still running for the Republican office. It's just like marginal in comparison to how much Ron DeSantis could never shut the fuck up about baby penises and baby vaginas.
You know, make sure they are registered Republicans, have to be registered Republicans, and get them out to vote in their local precinct caucuses at 7 p.m. on Monday. And I'm going to be here with you, by the way, January 15th. It's Martin Luther King holiday, so it's a Martin Luther King Day. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be probably in Des Moines or someplace. I'll be caucusing. We don't want to take any chances, right? So I could sit home. I didn't have to be. They said, sir, do you want to go there? You're in great shape. I said, no, thanks. I'm going because we have to make sure everybody gets out. And if I don't get out, that's no good, right? So we're going to make sure we get out. We're asking you to commit to caucus for us and bring as many people as you can to caucus at our campaign. Sign up at ia.donaldjtrump.com. Okay? And in conclusion, from Sioux City to Iowa City, from Fort Dodge to Cedar Rapids and Des Moines, to Davenport, to right here in Waterloo, we stand on the shoulders of generations of Iowa patriots who have tamed the wilderness, braved the elements, tilled the soil. You tilled that soil, I'll tell you, you're still tilling on the soil, right? You're great people. Worked the fields, built the factories, and poured out their blood, sweat, and tears to make this country into the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, its willpower, and its strength. We are a nation that has lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. We're not going to allow it to continue. We can't let it continue. The biggest election we've ever had is coming up, 2024. You know, I used to say that with 2016. This is the biggest election. I meant it. But we had a big border problem. In fact, I fixed it so good that in 2020, we couldn't talk about the border. They'd say, sir, nobody cares about the border. I said, what do you mean? It's the biggest thing. You fixed it, sir. It was totally fixed. And then what happened is not even believable. This is the single biggest election in the history of our country. This is going to determine whether or not we even have a country left, because these people are destroying our country. 3 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. 2024 is our final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media. We will evict Joe Biden from the White House, and we will finish the job once and for all. The great silent majority is rising like never before, and under our leadership, the forgotten men and women, the men and women of our country have been forgotten. They will be forgotten no longer. They weren't forgotten for 4 years. You know that better than anybody. Nobody's ever done better than we did during that 4-year period. We will love our country. We will take care of our country. We will pray to God for our strength and for our liberty. We will pray for God, and we will be with God. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, Iowa. God bless you. Get out and vote. Get out and caucus. Thank you all. Thank you, Front Row Joes. You follow me no matter where I go. We love you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good that we watch this to see what he's on.
Selector scheme.
It's kind of wild that they're also kind of showcasing this on CNN as well. Like, we're kind of back to 2015 again, boys. It's 2015, 2016 again, bros, okay? That's what's going on. That's what's popping. Yes. Oh, my God. If one more motherfucker sends me the Colorado thing, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. That's why we watched Donald Trump to begin with, to see if he was going to talk about the Colorado thing. He didn't.
No, he didn't disqualify himself when it came to a January 6th related question with the January 6th committee. But you're right. That's interesting. There are so many different interesting legal and political threads here. We're going to stay on top of all of it. Thank you all for your analysis and perspective on this monumental story tonight. And up next, a leading conservative legal scholar and early advocate for keeping Trump off the ballot on 14th Amendment grounds. Retired appeals court judge J. Michael Ludig joins us. And then later, a live report from Iceland, where a volcano just made winter there that much harder. We'll be right back.
Bro, I'm not going to lie. I think it's over. It might be Jover, dude. The Iceland volcano, dude. I don't know what the fuck's going on there, but kind of spells a little bit doom and gloom. You got like one of the most significant religious grounds in constant fucking conflict, active genocide occurring in Gaza, right? You got the fucking volcano in Iceland. You got literally the devil himself running again and looking better than ever before. Shit is apocalyptic. Honestly, I'm no believer in like religious symbolism or anything, but if I was even remotely spiritual, remotely religious, I'd be like, what the fuck is happening, dog? Shit is really fucked up. What is going on, dude? Are you implying that the evangelicals are right? Kind of, dude. I mean, if I was an evangelical believer of like angels and you know, the rapture, I'd be like, oh, shit's happening, shit's popping. Let's go. This is how you become evangelical? Yeah, totally.